And here we are loading in to game number 4 of this Goliath series, a best of 7 between our blue Protoss player, EG.Axslav, and our red Terran player, VPFaith. This is Clash for the Cash, the weekly Thursday night showmatch series with a King of the Hill style prize pool. So we thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you'll join us again next week. And this is sponsored by VP Gamers. You guys can follow them at VP Gamers on Twitter, and you can also follow us as well at Hypercruit TV on Twitter. We're going to get straight into this next match here. Cross-map positions on MLG Metalopolis. This is actually somewhat reminiscent of the last map. Shattered Temple and Metalopolis are very, very similar to one another as far as geography is concerned. High yields on either side of the map, and in the cross-map positions, both players have 4 expansions that they can crawl their way down into and take pretty easily, depending on how aggressive their opponent is. In that last game, we saw Faith with a beautiful one-base all-in, pulling all of those SCVs, leapfrogging those tanks into the natural, and just slowly picking Axslav apart in the privacy of his own natural. So I would love to see either of these players try something a little bit different in both of, or all of the matches we've seen so far. Both of these players have done relatively the same strategy. Faith with the 1-1-1 into expand, and Axslav with a 1-gate expand right into a fast robo. And he doesn't always go for fast Colossi, but still goes for that fast robo regardless. Needs to get that observer out for the Banshee timing. We've seen Banshees in every game, but still no cloak. Janitor, I want to feel excited. I want to see something different from these two Goliath players.
Well, you know, always a possibility, these best of 7s. I would like to see them switch it up as well. Faith only, there he goes, transferring a couple of guys over to gas there. I was going to say he only has 1 guy on gas for a short amount of time, but quickly corrected that mistake. Axslav gearing up to do everything standard. There goes down the cybernetic score right now. And he will be scouting his opponent. That Marine is just about to pop out, but not before Axslav gets a full scout. Now the question is, will Axslav get a nice full scout of the base? And will he see the factory go down if that's what VPFaith chooses to go for? You can see us moving around here. He's going to not scout that supply depot. Doesn't want to get too much information. As he moves continually around the base, there is that 100 gas. Where is the factory coming down? Not quite yet. Looks like Faith, there he goes, wants to kill that probe, then throw it on his factory, so that his opponent has as little information as possible. And it's something very, very smart to do, you know, just try and have your opponent not know what's going on. That 1 stalker will be coming out again for Axslav, chrono boosting it out, wants to make sure that that SCV gets out of his base as quickly as possible. But so far, everything standard from both players as of their very own play styles. Right now, Faith will be not throwing down the reactor immediately. Looks like he's going to be picking up the barracks, probably throwing down a reactor after that, and the bunker going down at the front of the base, as well as a second refinery. So all things gearing up for that 1-1-1, either expand or all in. We'll have to see.
Yes, indeed, we will see in just a moment. Still no reactor down on the barracks. He is just going to opt for the starport right away, and there's that reactor coming down. Got the bunker, or the supply depot, back in the dark region. Faith doing a good job getting that site across his base so he doesn't get caught off guard by any kind of funky warp prism play. Axslav is going to go ahead and expand like usual, going for that 1-gate expand, dropping down that 2nd gateway, and expect to see that robo follow pretty quickly here. And he's going to move this stalker, and he won't be able to see too much given that bunker. He'll see that Hellion sneak by, and he'll see the couple of Marines in the bunker. So once again, Axslav is going to have to be wondering, where's that gas going? Is it going to be Banshees once again? And that's why that robo facility timing is so key. You need to have that observer out just in case your opponent tries to switch it up and get that cloak. If you don't have any detection to deal with those cloaked Banshees, it is basically GG that quickly. Faith is going to go ahead and expand like usual here, and we're going to see that tech lab get dropped down onto the starport here, and another tech lab get built on this factory, so we could potentially see some pretty quick siege tanks here. Faith is going to go ahead and scout that natural, and he will see the quick expand from Axslav once again.
I actually really dislike the placement of that command center from Faith. All Axslav has to do is just barely poke up the ramp, and he's going to actually see that command center and know that the all-in isn't coming and feel a lot more comfortable. I really would have preferred to see him throw that command center down a little bit further. It will give him slightly more mining time with those SCVs, but not too much. I just found that supply depot in the 3rd base going to know exactly when his opponent wants to expand. The question is, will Axslav expand very, very quickly out of this? You can see the Banshee is going to be produced by Faith. Once again, Axslav moving around with that Stalker. Will he poke up here and see what's going on? Looks like Faith does not want that to happen, so he's actually going to get the free Stalker kill.
You're addicted to fast.
There by Faith, moving over, and then doing so much damage to that Stalker. Actually not going to allow him to see those, see that expansion, and we'll have to see if Axslav prepares for an engage, even though there won't be one.
Yes, indeed. So we're going to glance at the Harvester count here. As we would expect, Axslav is nicely ahead, as he does have 2 bases up, and he has been spending that Chrono Boost pretty aggressively on those workers. That Robo Facility is completed now, and the Robo Bay is down. Do want to point out the timing difference here from the previous games from Axslav. He did go ahead and drop down 3 gates before dropping that Robo Facility. So he is going to, or, well, he has a slightly higher army value than he has in the past, and he will be in a good spot here to deal with any sort of pressure from Faith, as you were just mentioning. We'll see Colossi on the field before too long here. And Faith really just getting into macro mode here, wants to get that natural up to saturation. That Banshee is on the field, and will fly over and start doing a bit of harassment. A nice little play from Faith right here. He does have that supply depot down in what would be the third of Axslav, so he can get that beautiful scouting information. Unfortunately, that first Banshee will be denied. That Zelnaga giving Axslav sight. A second Banshee does join him, though, and he may be able to scoot his way over and wreak some havoc on these workers.
That's right, and it looks like Axslav just getting sight of those Banshees. If he was paying enough attention, he actually would have seen them, but it looks like he's moving out with Stalkers. 2 bunkers are down, but will that be enough to hold off all 6 of these Stalkers? I believe it will, but I'm not entirely sure. 2 Banshees are going to be moving out and start to do some damage. Axslav is going to have to warp in some units behind, and it looks like those Stalkers are just chilling there. There are some more units here, and he's going to be able to continue to fight off those Banshees, doing absolutely no damage right now. Axslav could have pushed up to try and do some damage, but it looks like he might be geared up to do that. Nope, I'm wrong.
I was just about to say yes, indeed, and then he went ahead and backed up. But Axslav is in a good spot. He's got a nice little supply advantage, a huge Harvester advantage now, 58 to 39, picking up a free Banshee kill right there. Beautiful play from Axslav. Expect to see him take that third pretty quickly here. He'll have to move down and take out this supply depot, but he's probably going to try and expand again somewhat soon. That first Colossus almost on the board. Still no Forge down for Axslav, so he is somewhat behind in upgrades, still on 0-0, and that eBay for Faith is working away. That level 1 weapons upgrade for the infantry is already afoot. We do see 2 medevacs loaded up. Axslav is going to get scouting intel of one of those medevacs, and we'll see how much damage this drop does, filled with mostly Marauders and just a couple Marines. Axslav looking like he may be able to cut it off and could cut this drop short.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to catch it in time, although it does confirm that he will be moving back there. Expect to see him warp in some Stalkers in the back of his base to try and deal with it. And here comes Faith. Is going to be moving in with 3 Stalkers and 1 Marine. 1 Colossus is out, but he might need to micro that back. Does not want to lose that needlessly. You can see positioning the Stalkers so that the medevac cannot run away. Great play by Axslav. Completely shut down that drop. And Axslav right now is ahead of his opponent about by 3 steps, but I do want to point out that Faith is going to have quite a few Vikings out right now. He only has, or he actually has 4 out right now. It's going to be pretty interesting to see if, well, it's actually going to be very, very important as far as where the engagement happens. If those Vikings get major shots off on the Colossus, it's going to be pretty difficult for Axslav to win that engagement unless, of course, charge is done. A free observer does go down there by Faith. And now it looks like Axslav very happy to expand, takes down that supply depot. But the important part is that Faith knows exactly when that third will be going down. So the question is, will he capitalize and try to push out yet again? Looks like he's unloading those bunkers and could be getting ready for that push. But he will be on 1-1. You can see the +1 attack just now starting for Axslav. And this is going to be pretty interesting. It's all going to be up to the decision-making of Faith, and he already has 7 Vikings out.
Yeah, and it's interesting that Axslav is opting to go for the +1 weapons upgrade this late in the game as his first choice. In the past match, we saw him go 0-3 all armor, completely ignoring the weapons upgrade, and here he's going to start with the weapons upgrade. And given that the builds from both these players are pretty comparable to the last few matches, I'm curious about why he's opted to make that distinction. We are going to see that +1 armor come down pretty timely as well. Both players with a relatively even army supply value, and we do see Axslav still very far ahead on harvesters, 74 to 54. So this next engage should be a fairly even exchange, but as you mentioned, it's all about the micro, whether Faith can get some good shots off with those Vikings to engage, or if Axslav can do some pretty serious damage with those Stalkers. Blink is on the way, so Axslav is going to try and play defensively here until that Blink completes, and he will be able to hopefully engage a little bit more easily with those Stalkers and try and get some shots off on those Vikings before they start wreaking havoc on those Colossi.
Yeah, and Axslav right now does have a pro patrolling, wants to see when a third base goes down. He hasn't scouted that the third base is on its way for Faith, but he knows that his opponent hasn't hasn't expanded, and I think that's exactly why he is not going to be. He's going to be playing so defensively, working in some zealots here. Charge is finished, and he will be able to do some damage here. He needs to be very, very careful about how he engages. Those point defense drones will play a huge role if Axslav can target fire that down, target fire that Raven down. Note the 2-point defense drones are down, but Faith will not be able to do a ton of damage. Actually might lose quite a few Vikings here as Axslav needs to target fire those down, but the Colossi getting almost dropped instantly, but the charge zealots, you can see, forcing Faith to push back here. The Vikings are still up, but there's no more Colossi for them to kill. Axslav doing tons of damage with the charge zealots. All the Blink Stalkers are there. Blink is now finished. He's going to be able to blink very aggressively and take out the rest of these forces. Looks like an easy cleanup for Axslav, just going to be able to warp in some more units and continue with this damage. Bunches of zealots coming in. The third base going to be trying to go up for Faith, but Axslav is going to scout it immediately and know that he's in a fantastic spot.
Yeah, exactly right. And Axslav did a pretty good job there defending his third base. It ended up being a pretty even exchange, as we predicted. Unfortunately for Axslav, Blink completed a little bit later in that fight than he would have liked initially, and those point defense drones played certainly a huge role for Faith right there. But still a good play from both players. It's a good call from Faith to try and put pressure on that third base, but unfortunately it didn't do as much damage as he needed it to do, given how late his third is. As we see, this income difference is absolutely huge. It will level out a bit as Faith gets this third up and running, but for a very long time in this match, Axslav has been very far ahead on economy, so that is a scary, scary thing for Faith to think about as he moves into the late game. Axslav is going to try and harass this base, the right call here, but unfortunately that army is going to be sitting there ready and waiting, and those zealots are going to get taken out. But Janitor, Axslav is on the move. He's going to catch Faith out of position. Faith is playing around up at the 4th and 5th expand, and Axslav is moving into the main base here. He's going to try to do some pretty serious damage to these tech structures. The 2 Colossi in the back are going to get engaged by the army units. Oh no, Axslav not engaging as well as he could have, but a beautiful blink to move in and start doing some serious damage. The Vikings are falling. 1 Colossus is still alive. All of the Vikings are down. Only medevacs left in the air, and it looks like Axslav will be able to clean it up. A huge supply difference in favor of Axslav, and there it is, the GG from VP Faith.